Hello everyone, it's time for another favorites video, and today I'm going to start with my nail polish. I'm sure many of you have seen coverage on the new Vegas collection. It's exclusive to Chanel boutiques and certain Nordstroms that carry a full Chanel line. And the nail polish from the collection is called Goldfinger. It's pretty appropriate considering how glimmery and glittery the shade is. Yes, glimmery and glittery. There are glitter bits, but it's a very frosty polish, so it has a multi-toned effect. However, I don't love the color of the polish. This is probably one of the only Chanel polishes in a while that I've actually thought about returning. My best friend Tammy said she likes the color, but I actually find that it contrasts a little too much against the yellow of my skin, and it kind of makes my hand look more sallow and darker. So I'm not quite sold on this nail polish, and it's actually more expensive. Chanel keeps raising their nail polish prices. So with tax, I paid $30.12 for this nail polish, which I think is, you know, outrageous. I really don't want to pay more than $25 for a Chanel nail polish, which is already more than enough. So this isn't quite a winner with me. I think if it was a little lighter, a little brighter gold, then I probably would have liked it because it doesn't make my hands look so sallow. Now for the foundations that everybody wants to know about. I talked about the Lancome Teint Idole Ultra. This is a new 24-hour version, which comes in a bottle like the Teint Miracle, except in a frosted glass with a black top. And they are both pump foundations. I have the Teint Idole Ultra 14-hour retouch oil-free makeup in Buff 6W. This one I have in 250 Bisque W, and this one is just a touch lighter than 6W. If you used to wear Buff 6W in the old Teint Idole, you will probably wear 260 Bisque W in this. And for those of you who ask what C, N, and W in the Lancome foundation refers to, it's talking about the undertone of the actual foundation. So W is warm, so I'm yellow toned, which is why it leans warm. N stands for neutral, which is obviously a mix of warm and cool tones, kind of in the middle. And then cool is obviously for those who are pink toned or very pink. And that's actually part of the reason why I love the new formula so much, because they have completely expanded the shades. They've added an SPF of 15, which is a good and bad thing. I haven't tried it with flash photography because I'm not, you know, the type of person that takes pictures of myself. I don't even really go out. The only time I wear a full face of makeup is when I film. So for the full review that I write on my blog, I'll report back on the flashback levels. Now, I think most of you want to know, what are the differences between the two? Firstly, the name is the same, pretty much the foundation feels the same, it looks pretty similar, except this one is 14-hour wear and this one is 24-hour wear. So you're getting 10 extra hours of this one, and while this one is called a full coverage foundation, I felt like this is very much similar to the old Dior Forever in that it is medium coverage. It's hard to build past medium or it looks a little cakey. Whereas this, you get full coverage with the same two pumps that I used to get medium coverage from with this one, yet it doesn't look cakey. You can tell it's full coverage because I have lots of redness and I don't have to use a concealer on top to cover any of my hyperpigmentation anymore. So that's why I love this foundation, and I do think it works better under a primer. Right now I'm using Benefit's Professional, and that works really well to cover my pores right here and really smooth out the look of the foundation. I also think it looks best when applied with a beauty blender. Sometimes, you know, as much as I love using my fingers for foundation, when using a full coverage like this one that sets more quickly, you definitely want to use a brush or a sponge. This one, the older formulation, actually set even quicker. That's why on the back it says blend quickly on one area of face at a time. With this one, you don't have to rush so much because it actually melds really well into the skin. But overall, I think this was best for oily skin, and this is actually meant for all skin types. It will not look as great on dry skin. If you have dry patches, this will accentuate them. But the older Teint Idole was even worse on dry skin, just because it is such a quick setting foundation. If you have very oily skin, this might actually work even better for you because it would be less work. With this one, if you have very oily skin, I still highly recommend that you use a primer and powder on top. Also, this one does truly wear a lot longer, and I just love the finish it gives. It's a velvety matte finish. Both of them are great foundations, but I think Lancome knocked it out of the park with the reformulation. It's not too different, it doesn't smell any different, it doesn't look that different, it's just a truly better formula. So congrats Lancome, I really love this, and my Holy Grail liquid foundations video will be coming next month. So give it 2 weeks, we'll get there. Also, for two foundations that I have been trying in the last month and a half, In my last favorites video, I said that the Hourglass Immaculate Liquid Powder Foundation wasn't my top pick, but the more my skin recuperates from the winter dryness, I actually feel that this is a great foundation. And my twin sister, who is very oily, has purchased this foundation to try. We both are using the shade Ivory. And when I use this, I don't even need to use a primer. However, if you use a gel moisturizer underneath this foundation, the moisturizer will pill. So I highly recommend you use a thicker lotion or moisturizer, and if needed, use a primer. But overall, I think this is a great foundation for oily skin. Hourglass foundations do tend to run very neutral. There aren't that many warm shades like for yellow toned skins like mine, but Ivory is a pretty good shade, and if you top with a little bit of bronzer, you'll be just fine. I actually don't even top with powder when I use this foundation because it dries down to a powdery finish. With the Adult foundations, they do dry down to that velvety matte. It's like a satin, very soft, but if you wanted to truly set, I think it looks best with a matte powder foundation on top for that truly full coverage look. Also, this foundation is transfer free, and what that means is it doesn't slip and slide off your face onto clothes, onto your hands. That's what I love, because not that I touch my face that often, but I don't like seeing my makeup on clothes. For example, if you go to try on clothes at the mall, or if you hug somebody, you don't want to leave your makeup on them, right? So transfer free is great. The Hourglass Immaculate is pretty transfer free, and I'm probably going to review this foundation with my sister eventually, but for now, my final say is that the Hourglass Immaculate foundation is good. If you have any dry patches whatsoever, this will accentuate them even more than the Lancome Teint Idole, old or new. So I highly recommend this for those who are very oily. Now for my Benefit Place Stick. I use this shade Tea Party. And this is a great stick foundation, but I don't use this all over my face. I actually use this more like a concealer or for on-the-go coverage. I usually just swipe it across my cheeks, but if I'm in a rush and I just want a foundation that I can just blend out with my fingers, I'll swipe a couple stripes across my face and then blend it out with my fingers really well on top of moisturized skin, and it looks really natural. These also tend to run a little pink. Jump Rope, which is the next shade up from this, is super dark and orange, so unless you're around NC 45, I don't recommend that you try Jump Rope. You probably want to stick to Tea Party and add a lot of bronzer. Now, right now, I'm currently between MAC NC 25 and MAC NC 30. I'm definitely closer to the NC 25 side. I know my lighting makes it look like I'm really pale, but it's not just my lighting, it's my hair. My hair is really dark, so it makes me look more fair. So obviously there are a lot of factors involved, but I am around the NC 25 range. I'm back to Chanel 30. Now for some eye products. First, we'll start with the limited edition Giorgio Armani pencil in number 5. This one is called Copper, and it's from the Spring 2012 collection. And now that I'm done with spring coverage, this is the last piece that I wanted to mention. Not enough of the collection really got to me. I have similar things from Armani already, so the only things that I purchased were 2 of these pencils. And I love this shade. I'm wearing it today along the waterline on top of Urban Decay's Sin Glide On Pencil, and it is a wonderful formula. It's very creamy. It looks great in the waterline. And while it's called Copper, it's sort of peachy, so it doesn't provide so stark of a contrast as white on the waterline, which I love. It looks more natural. And now for actual liner. A lot of you have been asking me what I thought about Benefit's Magic Ink Jet Black Liquid Eyeliner, and it has been a long time since I've been this in love with an eyeliner that is not Lancome's art liner. This is my holy grail. I use this for everything. It is perfect for my signature cat eye. I always wear pretty thick, elongated cat eye because I feel like it accentuates my eye shape best, but the Benefit Magic Ink blows Makeup Forever, Urban Decay, and any other brand, except for this one, out of the water. It has a really thin brush tip, and I know brush tips are actually pretty difficult for most people to use because there's a little too much control. But it's actually very well pigmented, and I'm not a huge fan of these inkwell style shapes. I just think it looks a little, you know, cheap. But it's nice and lightweight, easy to use. I like the tapered end, makes it really easy to hold in your hand, and it's relatively waterproof. It's still easy to take off. It's the same thing for the Lancome art liner in that it's not waterproof, but it's sort of water resistant. As long as you don't rub it, you'll be fine. So I highly recommend the Benefit Magic Ink. It does take a steady hand, but you know, practice makes perfect. And last but not least, for my favorite lip product, my holy grail lip gloss, lipstick, lip stain, the YSL Glossy Stains. Now, I've already reviewed the Lancome lipsticks, the new Rouge in Love and Vernis in Love collection on its own, so I'm not even going to talk about that in this video. I just wanted to talk to you about the glossy stains because I've collected so many of them now. I have almost all the swatches posted on my blog. I'll get everything done today. Just check down below in the description box for the links to the post so you can see all the swatches. As you guys know, I have very dry, sensitive lips. They're always cracking and peeling and driving me mad. That's why I've never been able to find a stain that's moisturizing enough and has enough color, or at least in the colors that I like to wear. And YSL has really done that. I think this is the most phenomenal lip product that YSL could have ever produced. And some YSL lipsticks like Rouge Voluptés tend to make my lips peel like crazy. So as much as I love my colors, number 30, Faubourg Peach I believe it's called, I can't wear it that much. But I have found a quite near dupe in number 6, which is a gorgeous, slightly shimmery peach. It's a very neutral day wear color. And then here's number 7, which is a bright coral. I'm wearing it on my lips today with a bit of 19 on top. I'll show you 19 in a second. 17, which is a wonderful cool pink, but out of the pinks, I find that this one, number 17, is the most universal. Now for the two palest of the lineup. As you guys know, I love my nude lips, so I'm sure it's no surprise that 18 and 19 are my top two. They look really similar in the bottle. I actually bought 18 first and then thought number 19 was, whoa, way too similar when I got it in the mail. However, on my lips, they're entirely different. Again, I'll post swatches on my blog so you guys can see for yourselves. 18 is a very, very pale pink. It mostly mutes out the mauve tones in my lips, and yes, in America we say mauve, not mauve, like Canadians do, I believe. I don't have really dark lips, but they're of medium pigmentation and the mauve tones are really strong. So 18 is the perfect one to wear when I just want to tone down the mauve but not add too much pink. It's a great nude lip and I love it because it's a long lasting and it stains ever so slightly, but I don't have to reapply because there's still enough of that nude effect even through lots of talking and drinking. Now 19 looks like a really pale beigey pink, but it's actually slightly more corally beige, and all of these colors darken on your lips. When you first apply them, they feel like water and they look kind of patchy. So just smooth it over once and twice and then you'll get full coverage, and then it will start to thicken on your lips and become really moisturizing and glossy. You can tone it down with a finger, just swipe it across to tone down the gloss effect if that's not what you want, but overall they're super moisturizing and my lips feel even better after wearing these than not having worn anything on my lips at all, which is amazing because most lipsticks are very drying for me, so that's why I have to wear balm underneath. But with this I can slick it on dry lips and it just plumps everything up. Unbelievable. Anyway, back to number 19. Like I said, it does have a stronger coralline. It does provide more color to my lips and it makes them look more nude rather than pink nude, which is what 18's effect is like. So if you have really pigmented lips and you want a true nude, then I highly recommend number 18 and recommend that you try it out. But if you want a little bit of color to your nude lip, definitely try 19. I think they're both worth purchasing even though they are pretty similar, and I'll wear 19 in my next video so you guys can see what it looks like on me. And that's the end of my favorites video for this month. I hope you guys enjoyed my hits and misses. Technically, I didn't have any misses this month. Well, except for Gold Fingers, which isn't a complete miss because it's still a really opaque pigmented polish in 2 coats. It's just the color doesn't exactly work for my skin tone. And that's a wrap, truly. That's the end. I have nothing more to say. So I hope you guys enjoyed the video and I'll see you soon. Bye.